Hello, everybody. My name is Captain Willis Reese. I am the Florida Wing Director of UAS Operations for the Civil Air Patrol, and I'm also your instructor for this course. So, I want to start out by introducing myself and how I got involved in UAS, and then I want to talk about the course that you are about to endeavor into. First of all, I started back in 2016, right after the Part 107 was initiated by the FAA. And once the test got off the ground that year in August, I came along in November and had taken the test. Of course, I had a background in aviation with a private pilot license and had been teaching some aviation stuff prior to that. But once the 107 became an option, I wanted to jump in with both feet and get started. So I took the test and passed it, and about 6 months later, I was offered a position with the St. Petersburg College Workforce Institute, and they asked me if I could design a program for them for 107 test prep. And once again, I jumped in with both feet and created something similar to the program we have here. The program that we developed for the Workforce Institute, it's had a very huge success, better than 99%. In fact, we've been teaching that course for 7 years at the college, and we've had one person fail the test when they took it. But admittedly, that person came back and explained that they did not follow the directions that we gave them in order to have their best success. So they weren't studying, they weren't following the program that we're about to show you that will put you across the finish line with the greatest amount of success. It's really important, I believe, if you're going to be successful, to believe in the program and the course of study that you have endeavored into, to feel like you can walk in and actually pass the test. So over the next few minutes, I want to take a few minutes to try to help you to understand why this course is going to get you there and how it's going to work. So let's start with the history. Again, we created the program over at St. Pete College. It's had huge success, and over a 7-year span of time, we've figured out what is the best methods to teach this course, and using best practices in adult education, we're able to come up with a program that will even get the worst of the test anxiety out of you and give you the confidence you need to walk in and be ready for the test. The workflow here is going to be pretty simple. We're going to start you out with a baseline assessment. So we're going to give you an assessment very much like the test that you would do if you actually sat down for the Part 107 with the FAA. It's, matter of fact, pretty close to the exact same kind of test. The questions, I think you will see, some of the questions are so close to what they are on the actual test that when you sit for the 107, you're going to go, well, gosh, I've already seen this question before. But anyway, we're going to get you started with a baseline test, and we expect that you're not going to necessarily do well. I mean, let's face it, you haven't had any of this before. You're relatively new maybe to this whole situation. You may or may not have a pilot license, but just not be familiar with the Part 107 rules and regulations. So either way, we don't expect that you're going to do well on this assessment, but it's a place for us to start. It's a way for you to see your progress and for us to check back from any point within the class to see how you're doing. Once we get you started with that first initial test, we're going to follow that up with videos. So we're going to start the lesson, and you'll have a series of links that you will click off on and study. and watch. And once you're done with a section of the links, then we'll have you go to the book and you'll start some reading in that same area. Inside the book, there's also a list of questions that you can take that are very much similar to the test questions you'll find on the assessments throughout this course, and again with the FAA actual final test that you'll take for the 107. Now, the answers to those questions are in the book, so you can self-study and check yourself. So, assessment, reading, and then going over some test questions in the book. The other cool thing about this book is the test questions have some discussion along with them that will tell you the why, and I put that in big quotes, the why of, why is this question answered the way it is, and why are the detractor answers not the correct answers. So you'll get all of that from the program. And then once you've studied up, you've read, you've done the videos, you've read, you've gone through the test question examples in the book, then we're going to have you take another assessment. And that would complete one full iteration of a lesson. So from baseline assessment through the video lessons, through the reading to review basically what you've studied in the video lessons, and then testing yourself on a few questions, then you will go back and take another test. And of course, you will see at that point that your test scores should rise. Then we'll start another set of the same type of lesson. Video lessons, book reading, review, and test question review, and then another test. And we'll do it that way all the way through the end. When we're all done with everything, then I'm also going to provide you with some testing strategies that work really well with both adults and school-age students in helping our students in the public school system get through their statewide assessments. And if there's something that is amazing is to watch students that know what they're doing to get through a statewide assessment, because the questions are very complex. So we're going to give you some what we feel are your best strategies for passing the test, so that when you go in and sit down, regardless of what your anxieties may be, you're going to have the confidence to know that you are prepared. Your test scores will prove it throughout this course, as they will continue to rise well into the passing zone and beyond, and you will know that it's time to go take that test. So if you have faith in what I'm telling you now, it's time to take the plunge. You might as well. So I'm providing you here with the FAA's IACRA or IACRA webpage, which stands for Integrated Airman Certification and Rating Application. You'll need this. You have to sign up for this in order to get what they call an FTN, which is basically an FAA tracking number. And with that tracking number, then you will be able to go to the PSI Testing Center website, and I have that address up for you here as well. And you'll want to set up for a test. Now, I suggest that as soon as you get done with this program, that you go as quickly as possible to take your test. So this whole program is set up to take about 4, maybe 5 weeks. So I would say to go ahead now and schedule a test for no more than 6 weeks out from now, and probably no sooner than 5. So somewhere between 5 and 6 weeks, you want to go ahead and schedule. Now, if it's taking you longer to get through this course, and you can tell that right off the bat, then you may want to go back and reschedule with PSI, which they will let you do. But you would just recontact them and cancel the current test, reschedule a new one. And you can do that at any time or any point during this entire program. But I would suggest you go ahead and get that started. So let's talk a little bit about your course materials. If you haven't gotten your book already, you're going to be looking for the ASA Remote Pilot Test Prep book. Now, it should be sitting there next to you because I provided it along with the information on how to get to this class. But if you haven't done it yet, it's got a greenish, bluish kind of cover on it, and I'd say it's a little bit more green than blue. And it usually has a drone picture on it. So for whatever year you're taking this program, you want to make sure you get the current year test book for this class. And then inside the front cover, as you open it up on the left side, you'll see that there is a Prepware account set of information, and there you can you'll get your code to get in. Now, Prepware will give you 5 tests that you can take, and the way we've set this up, you should be completely finished with this course so that you can take your final test to make sure that you are ready and prepared to take your test. And of course, your test score will prove to you that you're, hopefully more than ready for that test, but your proof will be in that test score. Nonetheless, we want to get you started with a Prepware account. So that will be at prepware.com, but you'll see all of that inside the book anyway. You can also order additional tests from Prepware. If, let's say, something comes up and you have to take a break from this material, you can always come back to it at some point later, and you can get some more tests so that you can continue to test yourself and continue working the program. So you take your first test in there, and you want to be careful when you go in to take your test that you don't just take the first test that pops up. Prepware has a bunch of tests because they do private pilot licenses and AGLs and all kinds of different industry certifications. So if you will go to the part where it tells you, what test you want to take, and you do click the drop-down menu, the general UAS test should be at the bottom or possibly second to last, but you want to look down there for a general UAS test. You do not want to take a retest or anything like that. You want to take just the general UAS course. So be careful. We've had people in the past that have accidentally used up one of their tests testing for something they were not even interested in doing, and they didn't realize until they got 2 or 3 questions in. And Prepware will not allow you to have that test back even if you don't finish it, so it is a wasted test. So make sure you've got the right test, and if you're having problems with that and you're not sure what to do, you can always attempt to email me or get in touch with me, and we can discuss it. You can also get in touch with Prepware. I believe they have information on their website where you can reach out to them. So let's talk about the assessments themselves. How are they used? Basically, we've kind of already given that caveat out. They're going to be used to help you to gauge where you're at in this program. And what's really cool about this is they will give you all of the information as to where you're at and what questions you got correct and what you didn't get correct. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute. The schedule at which you're going to take these exams is after every lesson. So you're going to take one to start the course, and then after every lesson iteration, which includes, of course, as we said before, a video set of lessons, and then some reading in the book to review what you got from those lessons, and then testing yourself with some preview questions there in the book, and then checking those answers and reading the why behind why that question was right or why that question was wrong. And of course, then when you take your test, you get not only the test questions back to you that you can look at and get reasoning and the why from the test questions on the test, but it will also give you some what we call metrics, which is basically a graph showing you where you did good and where you did not do as well, so that you can focus your training. So the feedback looks like this on each test. So when you're done, you'll get this stuff. And the first thing you'll get is the actual test score, and it'll tell you how many out of 60 you got correct. And we're working with 60 here because that is the amount of questions that you will get on your legitimate 107 test prep course, or a test prep. I'm sorry, not test prep, but the actual test. So you'll get 60 questions on the FAA exam, and the Prepware test will allow you 120 minutes. So you get 2 hours when you take your FAA exam. So this, since it mirrors the exact same type of exam, they're going to give you 60 minutes, or 120 minutes rather, to do this test. And it will give you all of your questions here, and it gives you the why. If you noticed here in question 1, we got that correct when we did our test prep here, and it gave us the reason why it was correct. So it doesn't just let you think, oh, well, there's the correct answer. It literally tells you the why. And I suggest, whether you get the question right or wrong, you go ahead and read through, why did you get it right? Because that will just help to solidify that material in your mind. If you notice here on the second question, we showed what it would look like if you got a question wrong. And of course, it has the red X. It shows you what the correct answer should be, and then it gives you the why. Once again, why is this answer correct? Why is the other answer not correct? And so you can get all that information. Then you can click here at the top where you see I've now got the reddish arrow pointing in View Performance Chart. And when you click that button at the top of that test, it will take you to the metrics with the graph. And of course, it's color coded, and I believe I haven't seen the yellow lately, so they may have taken that out, but it usually is green, yellow, and red to show you either are scoring within the passing range in this particular portion or area of the test, or you're not. And so they break it down into 5 areas: regulations, national airspace system, weather, loading and performance, and operations. And you can see here what it would look like if we failed a portion of that test, and what it would look like if we did well. Of course, you want to dig in and really pay close attention to anything that you get in yellow or red. But then, of course, anything that's closer down towards the 70% mark, which is what you need to pass the actual 107 test, you want to pour in some additional work there. So if this was my test and I was working this system, I would want to go in and definitely hit hard with national airspace systems, and then of course regulations. It looks like we're doing good in everything else. So the video lessons, it's going to be real simple. You will get a list of links, and you'll go through a set of links that will be considered a session, and it will show the beginning and the end of the session. You should be able to see that very clearly. When you're done with that, of course, you do your reading review in the book, and we will help you to find what you need to read. It will be there in amongst those links. So at the bottom of every set of links, it'll tell you exactly what pages to go and look at in the book to find the information that was covered in the video lessons. The video lessons and the book are not necessarily all page for page. So in other words, you're not going to go from the front of this book to the end of this book along with the video lessons. We're kind of going to skip around a little bit so that we get the information to you in a nice, orderly fashion. And then, of course, you do the review questions in the book, and then go back and perform another section assessment and compare those that score to what you did on your baseline assessment, and so on, so that throughout the course you will have complete information on how you're doing. And then at the end of the course, there should be one test left in Prepware, and the score you should be looking for would be probably by that point, most people are doing 85 to 90 points. Some people will be in the mid 90s. I also want to take you back to the baseline assessment. Some people get lucky on their first test, and they may score in the mid 70s or even 80s on their first test. This happens. It's rare, but it does happen. But it's mostly a luck kind of thing. And then you'll see that your test score, the second test, will come down. You shouldn't feel bad about that because you know the stuff that you did on the assessment at the very beginning for the baseline, you didn't really know that information. So if you did well on it, it was just luck. When you start really learning this stuff, your test score could come down at first, but then you're going to see it over the next set of tests. You'll see it coming up very quickly. By the fourth test, usually everyone is passing, and then we try to get it to where, by that fifth test, you're hopefully scoring in the high 80s or low 90s. And then, of course, the next step is to go and take that test. It's pretty simple. There will be more information in text that will come along with the lessons. So look out for any changes we may have made or any information that comes along with the video lessons. It'll all be there for you to check. And again, you should be able to get a hold of me, and I'm available through this email here you see with Florida Wing through Civil Air Patrol. And also you can find me on Facebook at this location. So if for whatever reason you can't get a hold of me on my email, then look me up on Facebook if you've got one, and you can always reach out. Of course, if you do send an email or you do hit me up on Facebook, make sure in the subject line of whatever method you're sending me information, please put at the top that you are a 107 test prep student, and I will make sure to get back to you as quick as possible. I do put all of my students and people that are taking the courses that I put out, I put them ahead of everything else that I'm doing, so you should get a call back or a text fairly quickly. If you leave me a phone number, I'll try to text you. If you would prefer me just to email you back, include an email address, and again, I will try to get back to you within the same day. So you need to know that it's time to get in there. Feel confident through this course that everybody that has taken a similar course to this has passed this class, and you will too. So we're going to jump in now. We're going to let you get at this. If you're in the initial course group, it will take a couple of weeks before the very first courses come out, but you'll come back to the Google Classroom page where you got all of this information and the link to this video, and you will find this stuff coming out. I will send an email out to everybody that was on the initial list when the first course session is posted. And of course, we will add the other sessions until this whole course is done. If you are starting this course a long time after we've gotten it going, then everything will be there when you originally open up the class. Again, I'm Captain Willis Reese with Civil Air Patrol. I look forward to talking to you. I look forward to hearing about your success. And please don't forget, at the very minimum, to write us an email when you're all done and when you've passed that class and you've passed the test. Write me and let me know. If by some odd chance you didn't pass the test, I would love to hear your feedback as well. So please don't forget to do that. It's the only way we can make things better if it turns out that there is a problem. So again, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you as we move forward. Good day.